Hello there, good morning. You're welcome to Newsroom on GH1 TV. I am Serwaa Amihere. Let's begin with our top stories. And coming up in the next hour, two Ghanaian brothers and a US-based woman indicted in the United States over involvement in romance fraud and money laundering scheme. Also coming up, workers of National Identification Authority resume work after NLC's directive to call off strike. Fire outbreak reported at Monte Carlo in Tema over alleged electrical faults following recent power outages. And later in business, Makola traders to petition President Mahama over relocation plans by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Do stay. You're welcome once again to Newsroom on GH1 TV. I'm Serwaa Amihere. The news is streaming live on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook. This morning, two Ghanaian brothers and a US-based woman have been indicted in the United States over the alleged involvement in a romance fraud and money laundering scheme that reportedly targeted elderly Americans through online dating platforms and social media. This adds to the number of alleged romance cases that involved Ghanaian nationals in recent times. The accused, Jamal Abubakari, also known as Arrangement, his brother, Kamal Abubakari, also known as Lancaster, and Amanda Joy Opoku-Boakye, were charged in a U.S. federal indictment court with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. Here is a news desk report.
According to U.S. court documents, the three suspects were arrested in Virginia and remain in custody pending further court proceedings. Prosecutors allege that between July 2024 and April 2026, the accused and their associates used fake online identities to build romantic relationships with elderly victims on dating websites and social media platforms. Victims were allegedly manipulated into transferring money into accounts controlled by members of the network. Authorities say part of the funds was later transferred to accomplices in Ghana and other countries. The case forms part of a broader U.S. crackdown on romance fraud syndicates with links to Ghana. American prosecutors say several related cases involving Ghanaian suspects have already led to convictions and lengthy prison sentences. In one of the related cases, Frederick Kumi, also known as Emmanuel Kojo Ban Obeng or Abu Treka, also known as Dentini or Slab, were charged in 2025 with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. Kume is from Swedro, while Yusuf is from Accra. U.S. authorities also disclosed that several other individuals linked to similar fraud schemes have already pleaded guilty and received prison sentences. Among them is Dwayne Asafweje, a Ghanaian national sentenced to 71 months in prison and ordered to pay restitution. Another defendant, Otuo Amponsa, was sentenced to 108 months imprisonment and ordered to pay more than $3.3 million in restitution. The investigation was led by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Cleveland Division, with support from several Ghanaian and U.S. agencies, including the Economic and Organized Crime Office, the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Cybersecurity Authority, and the Ghana Immigration Service. U.S. prosecutors said the prosecutions are part of efforts under the Elder Justice Initiative program, which focuses on combating financial scams and fraud schemes targeting elderly people. Under U.S. law, an indictment is only an allegation, and all defendants are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in court.
Well, let's have a conversation on this. Joining me on phone is Richard Kumado. He's a fraud prevention and security consultant. Mr. Kumado, thank you very much for your time. We are seeing a surge in the number in these cases. What is happening?
It's because most people who come online are unaware of cyber criminals. There are a lot of gullible people or vulnerable people online. There are a lot of naivety going on online. Once you play online, in whichever platform, whatever you use it for, it is important to remember that there are cyber criminals online who might want to create a profile and play on you very hugely. The second point is that the cyber criminals have also developed capacity over the years. They have become more sophisticated. They have the right tools at their disposal, and these tools help them to play on the innocence of people, and they take their monies and their variables from them. So these are the two major factors that is leading the surge in an online crime, or what we call financial crime or cyber crime. The third point, however, is that law enforcement has been lenient with the commission of such crimes until in recent times when there has been a lot of collaborative efforts across the group to be able to curb the fraud and curb the menace of cybercrime. And so that is where we are currently.
But moving forward, because I'm sure that you've seen a lot of reaction online, a lot of people unexpectedly are being arrested since to the United States. Some are even actually, getting arrested there. What would you advise us done, both by security agencies here, government generally?
Investigation is important. Prosecution is important. Confiscation of the assets from the proceeds of the crime is important. If we can do these three, I think we will be fine. The last one, however, is for public education and awareness creation. And what I have been saying is that if a notice is served that you have committed a crime, and it is not the state that sponsored the crime, the state will not stop the investigation, whether the notice is served from an international organization or a regional investigation agency. What the state will do, however, is to ensure that your liberties are not curtailed, your right is not abused, and your well-being is safeguarded. So you have to be mindful that if you go out there and commit crime and think the state will come and bail you out, you might be thinking wrongly, and you might find yourself in a discomfort position that will create some level of discomfort for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumado, for speaking with us. Richard Kumado is a fraud prevention and security consultant. Let's cross over to social media now. There's been a lot of reaction following this. Obinewa Apia joins me with your comments. Ms. Apia, what do you have for us?
Well, Serwaa, just like you said, there's been a lot of reactions concerning this particular development. And most people are expressing disappointment with the Association of Ghana to Cybercrime. And we'll start from Twitter. And Kofi Osikeni says that this is why we are getting a visa won't be any much easier. Arthur Techi also says that really sad. If a country does not provide jobs for its youth, then surely this is what is expected to happen. Trader Kofi also says that sheesh, the image of our motherland being put to gutters. But lo and behold, our dear President, J.D. Mahama, the humble one, will by God's grace deliver us, and America will surely will be our strongest ally. Now, Godfred Yeboah says that the painful thing is one lazy and uncultured person will behave dishonestly and their actions affect the majority of we, the good citizens of Ghana. Come to think of it, they contribute nothing to our development too. They should be dealt with severely according to the laws of the U.S. Now, FK Anani is also saying that we are gradually erasing our good reputation at the international stage, and it is very sad. Kweku Whitehall says just a matter of time, and traveling on a Ghanaian passport will be a pain. Jones is also saying, we Ghanaians don't condone these acts. Jail them for life. So, Serwaa, these are some of the comments that people gave us on social media. You can also send us your comments on social media, on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook at GH1TV.
Thank you very much, Obinewapia, with those comments there. Please keep them coming. Away from that, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has accused the Institute of Economic Affairs of driving an emotional narrative in their proposal to nationalize the Tarkwa mines. This follows a demand by a fellow of the IEA, former Chief Justice, Justice Serwaa Kufu, alongside former Speaker, Professor Aaron Michael Quay, who urged President Mahama to soundly reject a 20-year lease extension for Goldfields Tarkwa mines before it expires in April 2027. Speaking to Star News, the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Mines, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, completely dismissed the IEA's proposal to nationalize the asset. He argued that while the proposal sounds politically attractive, it may shatter investor confidence and severely downgrade Ghana's rating as a safe haven for global capital.
The discussions about how we run our mines going forward should be based on the facts, should be based on the history, should be based on the economics. And again, so when Abdul talks to you about the points he was making, what does our laws even say about renewal of leases? And it's important to go into Act 703, which is the law, the parent law that governs that. And to that extent, with your permission, I just want to read two of the very important clauses. 44.1 talks about the fact that the mining leaseholder at any time, but not later than 3 months before expiration, would apply for a renewal. But the interesting one is 44.3. 44.3 says, on application duly made under subsection 1, and if the holder has materially complied with obligations imposed by this act with respect to the holding of and activities pursuant to the mining lease, the minister shall grant the extension of the terms of the lease according on conditions specified in writing. If this law was brought in front of the former Chief Justice, if it was brought in front of the Aludrite Speaker, former Speaker of Parliament, they know the law. They know that in so far as 44.3 is concerned, it is shall, grant the extension. But again, it is, again, as Abdul said, what is the terms that we want to see so far as this lease is concerned? As we are now renewing, what is it that we want to see in this one? This is the point where the minister would then sit together with whoever lease is being renewed and then ensure that the terms that we want to see are being followed.
Well, similarly, the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin Bana, has warned against the move, arguing that the local private sector is simply not prepared or financially equipped to absorb an industry of this magnitude. The union argues that rushing to nationalize or hand over the assets to local firms without heavy capital reserves could ultimately derail our current recovery and force the country back to the IMF for a bailout.
The position is that we reject in no uncertain terms the position of the IEA. One thing that we must all be guided is that the mining industry of Ghana did not start today. It has a huge history behind it. I mean, before the arrival of the Economic Recovery Program and subsequently the Structural Adjustment Program in the 80s, the Ghana's mining industry was state-controlled. All the mines from Dunkwao all the way to Pristia were all managed by the state. Trust me, all these mines were run underground. Are we proud of it? Obviously not. We aren't proud of that at all. It is also not to say that do not have the capacity to be able to run and, for that matter, manage our own affairs. We do have that capacity. But one thing that we all need to note is that because of the huge history behind us, which in the 80s called for the arrival of FDI, and we saw the influx of foreign direct investment in the early 80s. That is what has sustained Ghana's mining industry up until today. And so we need to avert our minds to the benefits of mining from that period up until now before we stretch the argument that it is time for Ghanaians to take over. And so, look, Ghana Mine Workers Union is not against Ghanaian participation in the industry. We welcome it. But it's also important to recognize that investor confidence is crucial. Let it be placed on record that these things that we are doing, whether to appropriate forcefully assets that are under the control of foreign multinationals, so we can hand them over to local, in itself is waning investor confidence. And the local participants themselves must be wary of the implications of all of this, not only on the foreign multinational business, but also on...
Workers of the National Identification Authority have resumed work after the National Labour Commission's directive to call off their strike. Now, the National Labour Commission met with the workers under the Public Services Workers Union over disputes on the implementation of a migration report affecting the group. At a meeting held on Thursday, May 14, the Commission heard submissions from both the union and representatives of the National Identification Authority, as well as officials from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Following deliberations, the Commission directed the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to facilitate the approval and implementation of the migration report by the end of May 2026. Meanwhile, the parties are to meet again on June 4, 2026 to report on compliance with the directives. Gifty Mensah is our reporter who is currently at the premises of the National Identification Authority and joins me live with an update. Gifty, thank you very much for your time. Have the workers resumed work?
Yes, so I'm currently at the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, to be specifically the NIA office. And the atmosphere here is very calm because when I came in, I could see applicants being seated, waiting to be called to be served. So I walked inside and I met some of the workers being attending to some of the applicants, and most of them were very busy, so they didn't want to talk to me. So I went ahead to see one of the boss, and he told me that I can observe myself that they are working, so everything is okay. But then, for some reasons, they didn't want to speak to the media, or even photos and videos were not even allowed. That's what they told me. For my observation, I could see that everything here is calm and work has officially resumed.
Very much. Gifty Mensah is our reporter confirming that workers of the NIA have resumed work. Meanwhile, the National Identification Authority says delays by the Ministry of Finance in signing onto the migration process triggered the industrial action by the workers. According to the head of corporate affairs at the NIA, Mr. Williams Ampoma, Emmanuel Dallas, all required documents from the authority are ready and ought to be processed separately rather than waiting for all other state institutions to complete their submissions before approval is granted. He made the remarks in an interview with Awisidede.
Canceling to it is unmotivated staff. And so under his leadership, he is committed to ensuring that the staff are motivated so that we can work for the good people of Ghana. Nobody has reneged on his or her responsibilities in getting this thing signed off. But the understanding we got from the Finance Ministry was that there are other institutions who are also migrating from their current salary structure to a different one. So the ministry was trying to gather all these documents from the various institutions before sign-off. But we have made the argument that once ours is ready, then there is a need to at least sign off ours, because we cannot wait for the other institutions to bring their document before ours is signed off for our staff to be motivated.
Away from this, following the reported death of a mother and baby at the Mother and Child Hospital in Serwaa, the Minister of Health, Kwabena Minta-Kando, has directed management of the facility to immediately improve service delivery and address public concerns. The minister, who paid an unannounced visit to the hospital, said the exercise was not intended to witch-hunt staff, but to assess conditions on the ground and help resolve challenges affecting healthcare delivery. He also assured that similar surprise visits will be carried out across the country to ensure health facilities adhere to best practices.
We've had some lengthy discussions, and the quality healthcare delivery is non-negotiable. I have acknowledged the good things they are doing, and I have also recounted to them the kind of feedback I have from this place. Today, they made me aware that they are overwhelmed, and so they need more staff. So the problem they enumerated, those I can solve instantly. I have directed that about 3 medical doctors should be posted here with immediate effect. I have also directed that they should post 5 midwives to this facility. I have also directed that about 5 of their orderlies must be mechanized with immediate effect. I have directed that they give me a list of health equipment, medical equipment, that within the next 24 to 48 hours we will supply them, and a number of issues that came up.
Fire has gutted Monte Carlo pub in Tema this morning, and preliminary information suggests the incident may have been triggered by electrical faults following recent power outages and sudden power restoration in the area. Eyewitnesses say the fire started shortly after electricity was restored, causing panic among nearby residents and business owners. Personnel from the fire service responded swiftly to the scene to bring the situation under control and prevent the fire from spreading further. The full extent of damage is yet to be determined, while authorities are expected to investigate the exact cause of the accident.
Out in a sambai, and a power for our 630 to 40. The sambai and about 7, let's take it almost 7. Yes, and says sambai very 7. The buy now make what inside the age man, but had them to know which man our neighbors or more near to the only who says smoke ever. No, which friend said, Damada, the by now a show computer room. That time, so now I'm in security. Tell me, friend, boss. Let me boss in fire service. When I'm a proud young fat, it's a quiet of in there. They'll be on fat. And decided to see.
You just watched an eyewitness who is also a staff at Monte Carlo. Well, the public relations officer of the Tema Regional Fire Service, Ebenezer Yenzu, spoke to the media also.
This morning, I think a minute after 7, that is where we received a call at our control room that there was a fire at Monte Carlo, that is Committee 10. And so quickly we had to dispatch an appliance from the motorway fire station to proceed to the scene. But even before they arrived at the place, looking at the smoke and the way the fire was blazing, they had to quickly call for assistance, and they called 2 other vehicles to join. So we had to let the industrial area and the ones from the Tema regional headquarters also coming in. But upon assessing the fire further, we realized that it was fast spreading, and we needed to check the spread and ensure that it doesn't affect other adjoining buildings as well. So we called 2 other appliances to join from the Ashaman fire station and Newtown. So we had 5 appliances that were at the fire scene to ensure that we can be able to control the blaze, and we were able to control it around 7:40. That is where we were able to control the fire and then ensure that it doesn't spread to other buildings as well. So finally, we've been able to extinguish it around this 9 o'clock, 9:34. Around 9:34, that is where we've been able to extinguish the fire finally. The fire, as you can see, has affected majority of the pub, that is the Monte Carlo pub, has been affected by the fire. But there is also another.
The management of the Pantan Psychiatric Hospital is calling on government to place mental health care under the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, also known as Mahama Cares. The hospital says the move is necessary to ease financial pressures and improve access to quality and affordable mental health care for vulnerable patients. The appeal was made during a donation exercise by the Ghana Bar Association in commemoration of Mother's Day for women on admission at the facility. My colleague, Calvin Powell, has more in the following report.
Established 50 years ago, Pantan Psychiatric Hospital is now facing serious infrastructural and operational challenges, with management describing the facility as a shadow of its former self. According to authorities, several buildings have deteriorated significantly, with continuous renovations placing additional strain on already limited resources, thereby affecting service delivery. Director of the hospital, Dr. Yunusu Malu, spoke after receiving the donation from the Ghana Bar Association.
Most of our buildings are over 50 years old and they are dilapidated. We are doing our best to keep them up to shape, but it's just the cost outlay is just too much. We use our meager resource that we get to buy the food, one. Two, we also get donations from individuals. And like I'm saying, we have over 150 clients coming to admit, so you can imagine having to feed them morning, afternoon, evening. It's just a lot. The Mahama Care is supposed to, or the Ghana Medical Trust is supposed to focus on non-communicable diseases. What do you mean by non-communicable diseases? Diseases that cannot be transmitted from one to another, like hypertension, diabetes, cancer. So mental disorders are non-communicable diseases too, but we don't fall under it. So we are appealing to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, to consider mental health disorders to be put on the Mahama Care Fund. So those who cannot afford mental health care, the vulnerable, the poor such that they can also get support with respect to that.
President of the Ghana Bar Association, Ifua Gatti, stressed that mental health is central to national development and must receive greater attention and funding. She also pledged to mobilize members to support the hospital with mattresses to address critical shortages.
I think that it is time that we all give back to society. This is a gesture that so many organizations can replicate and do same, so that we help those who are vulnerable in our society. As lawyers, we congregate and we agree on what we are going to do. But I am forcefully going to encourage this campaign because we didn't know about it till we came here. So I have to take word back to the organization that this is a pressing need, having come here this morning. And therefore, as lawyers, we can put our hands to the plow to donate mattresses.
Items donated include cooking oil, rice, toiletries, standing fans, tomato paste, soap, tinned fish, kettles, drinking water, and washing powder, among others.
Residents of Domiabra in Paha Junction in the Savannah region are intensifying calls on government to reject plans to re-award the abandoned Domiabra and Paha Road project to the Maripoma Limited Company. The aggrieved youth say years of delays and repeated abandonment of the project have crippled economic activities and worsened access to healthcare and education in the area.
The Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwame Govins Agboja, during a recent inspection tour of road projects across the country, raised concerns over persistent delays in the execution of contracts. The minister warned that some contracts could be terminated if contractors, including Maripoma Limited, fail to return to site and complete the assigned projects.
It is not only here you are not working. Majority of your portfolio, you are simply not working as expected. And somebody's got to tell you the truth. It's not right. Even on feeder road project, you are not delivering on time. Your company is one of the largest drawdown on government pay on road. Tell me the last time you finished any project that you have been given since in the last 5 years. No!
The concerned youth of Domiabra have now escalated their opposition of any possible re-award of the delayed Domiabra and Paha Road contract to the same company. Secretary of the concerned youth of Domiabra questioned how the contractor could once again be considered for the project despite years of non-completion.
If other roads have been given to you and you're able to work on it, similarly, if this one is also given to you, then it means that you will not work on it. So our argument is simple. He, Marpoma, should not be given the contract again. It should be given to a more dedicated company. Because he knows the process that he could have taken the government through in order for them to pay him whatever he needs.
Residents say completing the road is vital to improving transportation, trade, healthcare access, and education for surrounding communities.
What we do know is that when the contract was under feeder roads, it was awarded to him. But now the contract is now under highways. Okay. So that's a different department altogether. Wow. And our argument is that since you couldn't even work on the contract once it was under feeder roads, then why then should we even give it to you when it's under highways? That's our argument. Okay. So we hope that this contract will be given to a different contractor, not Maripoma.
While acknowledging Maripoma Limited as a major construction firm in Ghana, the youth insist the people of Domiabra deserve a contractor capable of delivering the project after years of frustration and unfulfilled promises.
You're still watching Newsroom on GH1 television. It's time to bring you the latest in the world of business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Tears and desperation fills the streets of Accra as angry traders from the 31st December market marched to the seat of government, pleading with Vice President Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman and First Lady Lordina Mahama to step in and halt a planned relocation by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, which they say could destroy their only source of livelihood. Clad in red and wielding placards amid chants and tears, the emotionally charged traders, many of them elderly women, protested against what they describe as an unfair eviction without a suitable alternative trading space. Presenting a petition to the government, the traders warned that the relocation could plunge hundreds of families into hardship and economic uncertainty. Let's take a listen to some of the traders as they voiced their frustrations after presenting their petition to government.
First Lady, Jane, Vice President of Atampa, who Tiama Sufre, who Mama Boa, Namaya Bre.
The government has urged MTN Ghana to match its market leadership with improved service quality, affordable data pricing and expanded network coverage as the company marks 30 years of operations in Ghana. Speaking at the launch of MTN's 30th anniversary celebrations, the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, Samuel Nate George, acknowledged MTN's contribution to Ghana's digital transformation, but noted that consumers continue to raise concerns over data costs, network reliability and customer service. There's more in this report.
Telecommunications giant MTN Ghana has marked 30 years of operations in the country with a renewed focus on digital transformation, network expansion and financial inclusion. At the launch of its anniversary celebrations, the company highlighted its role in expanding telecommunications access, mobile money services and digital innovation over the past 3 decades. Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, Samuel Nate George, says MTN's investment in fiber infrastructure, network expansion and digital services have contributed significantly to national development. Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, Samuel Nate George, says MTN's investment in fiber infrastructure, network expansion and digital services have contributed significantly to national development. However, he maintained that improved service quality and affordability remain critical expectations from consumers.
The protection of fiber and tower infrastructure from vandalism and unreliable power. And on this, I know how much money and how, I used to say that I'm sure Ruben used to have hair before he joined MTN. But the sheer number of fiber cuts have made him lose all of his hair. And because when the fiber is cut and I get a report, I call him and say, Ruben, what's going on? And so I know that those are things that are not necessarily just within your control, but as regulators and as government, we need to support you to be able to deal with this, because dealing with the fiber cuts comes at cost to you. It's also important that we strengthen our cybersecurity and data protection. We must narrow the digital skills gap amongst our youth, and the environmental sustainability of our network expansion cannot be compromised.
Chief Executive Officer of MTN Ghana, Stephen Blewett, described the anniversary as a celebration of Ghana's digital transformation and the company's role in improving livelihoods through connectivity.
30 years of progress powered by you. Powered by you. As connectivity deepened, inclusion followed, and in 2009, Ghana experienced a defining shift, which was mobile money. MoMo was not just a product, it was access. Access to the formal economy, access to safety and dignity, access to growth. It's something to be proud of. I've worked in many markets, and one of the things that struck me in Ghana is I never ask someone if they take MoMo. It's assumed they will. And that's a credit to the people who have built that business. Today, millions of Ghanaians rely on mobile money every day. We all have become used to the phrase, just MoMo it. It supports households, business, agents, entire value chains. It's deeply woven into the fabric of Ghana's economy and into our daily lives.
MTN Ghana says its services have expanded access to communication and financial inclusion for millions of Ghanaians, including traders, students, entrepreneurs, and rural communities.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Riverson Opon, says government intervention in fuel price management could negatively affect the operations of oil marketing companies. Speaking to GH1 Business, Dr. Opon warned that reducing or removing industry margins intended for operational activities could create financial constraints for OMCs and affect their ability to pay for critical services.
Today, if you look at the intervention the government is doing, looking at zeroing margins that are meant for industry operational activities, okay? That is fine with whatever purpose they intend to achieve. However, that will bring some level of insecurity in paying for services. I've already mentioned that this also would bring a bit of financial constraints on marketing companies. Thanks to MPA, yesterday we had a meeting and that aspect has been delivered. So we expect oil marketing companies to receive their deficit from the discounts sold on diesel. For me, if this continues for another 1 month, I believe that will call for a whole lot of reforms around the margins that are being.
And that's it for Business News. We'll be back with more.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Concerns are growing over the increasing misuse of social media platforms to spread misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and sexually offensive content. Observers say the trend is deepening divisions, damaging reputations, and exposing especially young users to harmful material online. The latest controversy involves founder of Ghanaian media and lifestyle platform Black Volta, Joseph Ajay, who publicly apologized after old social media posts linked to his account resurfaced online. In a statement issued on May 14, Ajay admitted that some of the posts were very offensive, insensitive, and wrong, particularly comments that appeared to trivialize sexual violence. The incident has renewed calls for stronger digital responsibility, ethical online conduct, and stricter enforcement against harmful online behavior. The Ghana Police Service has also warned that social media platforms are increasingly being used to target security personnel, spread panic, and glorify violence, a trend they say poses a growing threat to public safety and national security. Media analysts and civil society groups continue to urge users to verify information before sharing and avoid content that promotes abuse, discrimination, and violence online. Let's have a conversation on this. Joining me via phone is Emmanuel Kranting Asumeni. He's a programs manager for Pen Plus Bytes, a civil society organization driving change through innovations, using new digital technologies to help good governance and accountability and new media. Mr. Kranting, thank you so much for your time. How did we get here?
Good morning, Serwaa. Sorry, good afternoon, and let me say a very good afternoon to all your viewers. It's quite unfortunate we are here at this moment, but it's an interesting question. There are a number of issues or factors bringing us to this point where we are now, mostly because we find ourselves in an era where AI and technology is at scale and at speed with what we are experiencing. Misinformation, hate speech is not new, but now the scale and speed of the internet, AI, media has made the problem even worse. And some have argued that it's tied to low literacy level. Most Ghanaians, or especially the vulnerable in society, haven't been equipped with the necessary skills and skill sets to be able to determine whether an information is true or not when they go on social media platforms and all of that. And also it boils down to accountability in terms of platforms being accountable on their various platforms. So when I talk of platforms, I'm referring to Meta, I'm referring to X. All of these platforms, they haven't been accountable in terms of their moderation policies, which are looking at how they can moderate content on some of these platforms.
That our current digital regulations and platform accountability allows for us to fix some of these problems?
It's dicey. I would say that we've made some efforts in terms of digital regulation, and they are not yet strong or responsive enough to deal with the scale and the speed of the problem. And the challenge also is not just with the existence of laws. I would say that there are three key gaps. First, relating to enforcement, which is not consistent. And we have many cases of misinformation, hate speech, online problems that have gone unaddressed, usually because they are low-profile cases. Until they get the attention of the media, you don't really see them getting the needed attention or being addressed. And also, it also boils down to our regulatory frameworks, which we are struggling to keep up when it comes to digital realities. When we look at how fast involving issues like algorithm and virality is happening. It's also an issue. And lastly, as I made mention of, we also have what we call platform accountability still being weak. How do we verify information, or how are platforms moderating content that are being churned out in our local dialects? And so it goes beyond regulation, but I think that at the moment we have some laws addressing this issue, just that they are not enough and they don't also speak to the current reality that we find ourselves in.
Thank you very much for speaking with us. Emmanuel Kranting Asmani, he's a programs manager for Pen Plus Bytes, a civil society organization. Thanks so much for your time. Stay with me. We'll be back with more after the break. In sports, host nation Ghana delivered a memorable performance on day 3 of the 2026 CAA African Senior Athletics Championships at the University of Ghana Stadium in Accra, winning multiple medals and booking places in key finals after a difficult start of the competition. Ghana's medal breakthrough came in the women's 400 meters, where Florence Agyemang powered to a bronze medal with a personal best time of 51.87 seconds, earning the country its first medal of the championship. Moments later, Alex Amankwa added another bronze medal in the men's 800 meters final after clocking 1 minute 46 seconds in a thrilling race. Ghana's men's 4x100 meters relay team produced another impressive display by winning Heat 2 in a time of 38.69 seconds to qualify for the final scheduled for Friday evening. The strong performance on day 3 have reignited excitement among Ghanaian fans as the host nation looks to build momentum for the remainder of the championship. Ghana's under-17 side surrendered a 2-goal advantage to draw against Algeria in the ongoing under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. The Black Starlets made a blistering start with Gavi scoring in the third, doubled Ghana's lead in the 11th minute. However, Algeria fought back in the second half to score twice and deny Ghana victory as the match ended in a draw. Now, despite the results, Ghana showed great attacking intent in the opening stages and will now shift focus to their next group against South Africa as they continue their AFCON campaign. On the international front, Africa's top health agency has declared an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern Ituri province. Around 246 cases and 65 deaths have been reported, mainly in the gold mining towns. Ebola was first discovered in 1976 in DR Congo and is thought to have spread from bats. This is the 17th outbreak of the deadly viral disease in the country. It is spread through direct contact with bodily fluids and through broken skin, causing severe bleeding and organ failure. Early symptoms include fever, muscle pain, fatigue, headache, and sore throat, and are followed by vomiting, diarrhea, a rash, and bleeding. There is no proven cure for Ebola. And according to the World Health Organization, the average fatality rate is around 50%. And that's it for the news. On behalf of the entire team led by Awisi Dede and Joshua Kujomensa, thank you very much for your time. The news team will be back at 6:30 with News Tonight. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day.